For a series with so few entries, you'd think we know all there is about F-Zero. No stone unturned, no cut content to find, no lost media to uncover, but that couldn't be further from the truth. There's plenty of examples of F-Zero lost media floating around, but if you ask me, nothing outside of Zero Racers for the Virtual Boy are as big as this. This is a piece of media that's been half found, half forgotten for 26 years. The media in question being BS F-Zero Grand Prix 2. I imagine a decent chunk of F-Zero fans already know this, but I'm going to be giving context to it anyways for the people who are more casual fans or newcomers from F-Zero 99. Back in 1996, Nintendo was working with a Japanese satellite radio company named Saint Giga to create a modem attachment for the SNES. It came with a hefty price tag and an additional subscription fee, but it would allow you to access a wealth of downloadable content. Exclusive games, digital magazines, limited time experiences. Think of it as a precursor to the modern versions of subscription-based games and live service content. This was the Satellaview. It had several original games, but its main bread and butter were special remixes of already released Nintendo games. Legend of Zelda with a full symphonic score and narration, Kirby minigames, and of course, F-Zero. After the release of F-Zero on the SNES in Japan all the way back in late 1990, the series lay dormant until Nintendo made a Satellaview exclusive expansion called BS F-Zero Grand Prix. It was broadcast to users of the Satellaview on December 29, 1996, featuring new tracks, new machines for the drivers, and new venues. The broadcast would mainly feature existing tracks from the original game, with each league having a few new ones sprinkled in. Cool, right? But you want to hunt down a ROM and race through these tracks yourself? Well, good news, you can! Though only partially. Booting it up, you'll see a new league to play in known as the Ace League, which is comprised of half of the new tracks, Mute City 4, Big Blue 2, Sandstorm 1 and 2, although these are more of a Sand Ocean reskin than their own original venue, and Silence 2. The other half of the new tracks were in the sequel to BSF 01, with the new ones being broadcast for only 2 weeks instead of a whole month. The only proof that we have of the lost tracks existing is some VHS recordings by YouTuber Cocoon. What the fuck is that username? Where they showcase their broadcasting sessions of BSF 0, though we'll mainly be focusing on the last 2 uploads in this playlist. What we see here is that there is an additional 5 missing tracks from the rest of the package. Those tracks featuring the other 2 new venues, with the first 3 revolving around a place called Forest, which is just you racing in a forest world, and the last 2 centered around a land called Metal Fort, and from what we can see in some of the background is that it looks like a planet turned into one big militarized zone, with turret guns and a more battle-ready look to it all. To do these tracks more service, I'd like to take a little dive into the footage we have here to explain what we have going on in each track. Forest 1 takes us to what looks to be a small track filled with triangular-looking curves on the min-map, though outside of that, there isn't really anything eventful going on with it. No bombs, dash plates, ice, or anything else outside of the big chunk of downing magnets near the end of the track. One thing that is notable outside of that is the fact that there's no pit areas whatsoever to heal, meaning that if you've taken a lot of damage, you're not going to get any of your health back. Forest 2 literally expands upon itself, making the track layout wider and continuing with the chicane placements, though to add extra difficulty, there is now ice covering the turns within it. Just like the first track, there is still no pit area, but then again I don't really think it's much of an issue, as there doesn't seem to be much difficulty here, and in the previous track anyways. The third and final version of Forest is more so a remix of Forest 2, as it raises its vertical length and throws in a jump plate section, after which we notice an amalgamation of railing dots together. Then when it comes to the ice section, it throws in some bombs in between the patches. What's also interesting is that at the beginning of the track, there's now a pit area to make up for the more challenging version. Next, we move on to the last 2 tracks, Metal Fort 1 and 2. Metal Fort 1, from the looks of the min-map, comes off as very angular in design, as it features a lot of sharp small turns, and looks pretty compact as well. From what we can see of the track's layout, the beginning section isn't anything special, but things start getting interesting once you enter the middle right section with the jump plates. Once you land back on the track, the lane becomes much slimmer than before, with guardrail dots that'll catch you if you don't stay in the lane. After that, there's a few dirt patches and several quick turns that'll lead to the finish line. It might be a bit hard to notice any sort of dirt blocks within the footage here due to the quality, but I'll leave some arrows pointing to them for clarification's sake. Oddly, the pit area is directly behind the finish line, which was a rare sight to see in the original F-Zero series, the only tracks that did so being Deathwind 1 and 2 and Firefield. Metal Fort 2 becomes more interesting, as there are some slight dirt patches on the corners of the tracks that lead up to the old jump plate portion, as the height of the track is now stretched out to replace it. Afterwards, there's a somewhat zigzag-shaped lane that has some dash plates alongside some jump plates at the end of each snaking portion. After going through, we see that the end of the lane now features more dash plates, which then features a jump plate with a downing magnet in front of it afterwards. These tracks and venues, to me, are very interesting, and it's a shame that not only were they never added in future re-releases of the original game, but with F-Zero 99 being the technical newest entry in the series, all they added as of now are the base game leagues. This is baffling because they're shooting themselves in the foot with this decision due to there only being 3 leagues or 15 tracks to play on. Things tend to get very stale after a while, and they really missed out on bringing back some Satellaview exclusive tracks to it. Either that or adding even something like the maximum velocity tracks, but I digress. Now that we've gotten all of the details out of the way, let's talk about the hunt for it. Hardcore F-Zero fans have been trying long and hard for a couple of years to get their hands on the other half of the ROM, but to no avail. One person on Reddit who goes by the name Porthor has even decided to create a bounty for anyone who can prove they have the other half and will dump it online for people to play. As one portion of his Reddit post reads, these ROMs come from BSX memory packs. The strange thing is that for F-Zero on the Satellaview is that it's under a different than normal file type called SoundLink. These, on first appearance on the cart when turned on, don't display or play this file type, so the only way to know if it's there is to dump the information from the BSX pack and view them on a PC. BSX memory packs are known to suffer from data degradation, the so-called bit rot, and that if they aren't dumped by now, there's a chance they might have gone bad. Now what's interesting about this is that I've had this Reddit post bookmarked for a few months, and what was once originally a $2,500 bounty went up to $5,000 from an anonymous donator, which adds more stake to finding this elusive ROM, and that's where you, the viewers, come in. If you know someone who might have any new leads that can help with the search to find a BSX pack, leave a comment in the comment section below and spread this video around if you can. As a longtime F-Zero fan, even though some people are bound to believe that the ROM is possibly gone forever, I am one to have hope that it's out there somewhere. Maybe it's in the hands of someone who might not know they're holding on to the key of an almost complete puzzle. There have been lost media cases that have lasted way longer that have eventually gotten solved, like the recent find involving the 1995 Shrek test animation that used Chris Farley's voice. If that can end up being found, then I believe this can too. With that out of the way, I'd like to say thank you all for watching. I'd like to thank my friend Sticker Puff for helping with the entire video, and my friend Rotting Coffee, me, for narrating it. What do you think about this search? Do you think that the 5 remaining tracks will ever be dumped online, or will forever be lost media? Let me know what you think, and if you like this type of content, leave a like on the video, and have a good one.